Open URL, tell 911. You know, what do you mean? I'm at Starbucks. I didn't call 911. And this one's kind of related to, I don't know if I can't remember who gave the talk. It was a couple years back, but it's one of the Bluetooth hacking things where I could cause your phone to dial mine. And so if you're in a boardroom talking about mergers and acquisitions, I will have your phone call mine, and then I would just sit there and listen in like I'm on speakerphone. So that'd be kind of cool. One little note here, I'm not entirely sure if it prompts the user. So you may have to hit, yeah, dial. So I tried it last night, but Erica utilities they're broken on the latest version of the iPhone. If you're curious, my iPhone is currently not jailbroken. After I scared myself, I was like, yeah, I'm going to play by the rules. Of course, pillage the file system, look around. You could apt-get install TCP dump, nmap, and pretty much go wild on whatever E&O0 is connected to, which you may have to have a couple of things working, full disclosure, to make that work. If you think about it, what you essentially have is it's a dual-honed device that is possibly in the enterprise on the E&O network, and oh, by the way, it also has a connection to AT&T that prior to October, hackers may be running wild on. So in my little head, I thought, well, if I were to make it onto somebody's iPhone and they happen to be associated WPA with a certificate on the enterprise network, I'm inside of who knows where. So you can start nmapping things and all types of stuff. So that's the first, well, this is related to that. One of the reasons why I think that AT&T fixed this issue was because of these guys. The first inkling when I was like, whoa, okay, the cow's out of the barn is in November of 2009, a Dutch kid logged into a bunch of people's iPhones on their networks and changed their background and said, hey, come to my website and pay me €5 and I'll tell you how to fix your phone. He quickly found out that that was not a very good idea. And what's interesting about these two issues, the Dutch issue and then this one, this was another worm that was self-propagating in Australia, is I read all of the news articles and trying to find the most technical one that I could find, and it seems like these issues, these worms were scanning the routable IP that their carriers gave to their phones, which is kind of odd because if you're on a usage-based data plan and your iPhone has a world routable IP, I mean, any of you that have ever tailed your firewall logs, you know that there's just a bunch of crap that comes across to you. So I don't know, maybe their iPhones are always getting blown up. But nobody was really talking about what was going on the NATA networks, which I found interesting. So that all went down in November, but it was October when AT&T fixed the issue. So I'm thinking maybe, the carriers may have talked to one another and said, something's going on. And they said, we better fix that, which I'm surprised they didn't do earlier. The other thing that I should kind of give a little shout out here too is I looked around to see how many people were talking about inter-carrier security issues, and there really wasn't much. I was looking for like some old books on, 3G for Dummies and UMTS Explained to try to figure out if there was much attention being paid to carrier IP security. And At Stake actually did a white paper as a result of some of the engagements that they had with their customers where they talked about these exact issues. So I don't want to say that I'm the very first person to ever think about this, so a little shout out to the old At Stake Symantec guys. After the worms came out, and it always seems like the first couple of exploits are all fun and games and there's some lolcats involved. There's no lolcats in my whole presentation, I'm just going to say that right now. And then people kind of say, all right, let's get down to business and make it hurt. Whoops. And so two tools came out, and these were both discovered by the security firm Intego. They have a great OS X and iPhone security report from 2009. These guys discovered that there was the phone, this is what they tagged it, privacy.a, which is a command line Python tool that essentially you identify a exploitable iPhone and you point the script at it and it says what do you want to download basically, and you just start pillaging things. Somebody took that one step further, and this one's kind of interesting. They came up with iBotnet.a, again discovered by these same guys, and it's a botnet on your iPhone that has a command and control channel and even modifies Etsy hosts so that when you browse I think it was a Lithuanian banking site, you would go to somewhere else. So a little bit more suboptimal, if that's a phrase. So some good news. AT&T does segment part of their network. For example, I called a buddy of mine in California and said, hey, what's your AT&T IP? You know, anytime you call one of your friends, you're like, what's your IP? They're like, why? And I was like, oh, just hang on to it and tell me if your phone gets really hot. But I couldn't see him. That said, I could see cell phones that somebody told me were in Boston walking down the street, or the Carolinas. So it wasn't completely segmented. Again, right before I gave my talk, I did pop my SIM card into my air card, started scanning. And I was like, just want to make sure that it's all still good and it's still filtered. I think that those worms probably gave the good folks at AT&T probably a pretty good scare. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a second, but there's no real easy way to target a specific individual. So it's hard for me to say, hey, Joe, I want to attack your AT&T NAT IP. There's no way to correlate the IP address to a person via Safari. If you take your Safari mobile web browser to decloak.net, which tells you all types of interesting things behind your network when you go there, it just kind of doesn't work. And I really tried hard to look for like Java applets, but Java doesn't work in, or Flash for that matter, in Safari. And it's really slow. So if you don't have patience, if you have ADD and you're trying to get into somebody over the wireless network, it's slow. That said, probably the easiest way for me to say, you there, I want to attack your iPhone, is I would send you an email message, an HTML email. Most people, I think by default, even with the latest updates, they still allow images to automatically be rendered in Mail. I send you an email message well, first of all, I would place my device on AT&T's network, get an IP address on their NAT network, and set up a listener netcat, or just run TCP dump, send you a specially crafted email message. When you view the message, your browser attempts to contact me to render that image, and I just watch for the inbound TCP send packet, or see who connects to my netcat listener, and bam, I have your AT&T IP. When you hit lock on your phone stays awake for a little while, and I found that when I would turn it on later, after some time had passed, it's a new IP. So once you pin down somebody that you want to go after, it's kind of difficult to follow them, unless you were to get onto the phone and put some malicious JavaScript in their browser cache on one of CNN's, right? That always phones home to you. Then you're like, oh, now you're there, now you're there, now you're there. I don't know. I didn't get that far. Well, what do we do? Everybody likes to paint doom and gloom in these talks, so I like to kind of say, well, this is some things. Don't jailbreak your iPhone if you really care about security. If you've spent some time in the Cydia store or in the Cydia repositories, that stuff doesn't exactly go through a strict QA process, let's say. A guy just did a talk at Black Hat DC where he actually got a malicious proof of concept app approved by Apple into the App Store that accessed pretty much all of the data stores on the iPhone just to show, look, we can do it. And that was after going through Apple's process. And if you know anything about the Apple developer review process, that's a pretty stringent, mysterious process. So the stuff that's in Cydia, there be dragons here. If you do jailbreak it, you obviously should change your root and mobile users' passwords. I shouldn't have to tell that to you people. And a shout out to the Cydia folks. There's no real reason to bind SSHD to the PDP interfaces, or all interfaces for that matter. It kind of should just be on E0, and there should be some sort of force user to change their password upon install. And a lot of people say, well, stupid users, they should just do that anyways. Well, I can tell you that there's a lot of maybe not the most technical security savvy people out there that are just using Black Rain, clicking, breaking their iPhones, and it's on there. And AT&T, you should filter your mobile-to-mobile IP traffic. They've already done that. So again, that's why I felt kind of comfortable giving this talk. So we're at the halfway point. I'll take questions at the end. The next part of my talk concerns privacy and location-based applications. How many of you, you fire up a lot of apps now and it says so-and-so would like to use your location? Yeah, sure. I want Yelp to tell me the latest, the local stuff. And there's a lot of apps that ask for your location. That's one of the kind of cool things. For this talk, we're going to be using or talking about the game Underworld Sweet Deal. How many of you have ever heard of this game? Anybody? I checked this morning to see if anybody at the conference was playing it, and I didn't see anybody. Underworld Sweet Deal, it's kind of a cool game. They were the first one in the space, and it's a drug trafficking game with candy. Apple, well, they originally allowed you to basically like sell pot and acid and heroin and all these cool drugs to one another, but when they went for the Apple review process, yeah, that didn't go over so well. You know, you can get 50 iFart applications approved, but oh, you're selling pot? No. And the concept in the game is you have to move product from point A to point B. You buy low and you sell high. So if I'm at my house in Loudoun County and I buy gumdrops or I buy waffles from somebody at a reasonably low price and I come here to DC and I fire the game back up, I check in with the game servers, it now knows that I'm in DC and it exposes my product to the local market and hopefully somebody will buy it from me at a profit, which allows me to raise my rank in the game. Now, in order for the game to expose you to all these new markets or to show you what's for sale, it has to acquire your geo-coordinates from wherever you are. And this is a very common operation that a lot of iPhone apps do, is they want to know exactly where you're at so they can give you local results. I've yet to see an iPhone application that does not provide high-resolution latitude-longitude coordinates to the application server. I mean, how accurate is the iPhone GPS? It uses a combination of the cellular towers and Skyhook wireless, which is kind of a cool little concept. So it's fairly accurate, and I'll show you exactly how accurate. This is what the old game used to look like. Anybody familiar with the old game Drug Lords, okay? It's exactly like that, only it really matters. So you're like, honey, I have to drive down to the gas station because this guy wants to buy waffles from me and I need to get on his game tile. So you actually have to physically move your phone. And it's like, man, I've been playing the hell out of this game and my gas bill's like through the roof, driving around like an idiot. But if you work for UPS or you're a pizza delivery man or you are on the go, you can really wreck shop at this game. So those are the old... This is so instead of like the cool guys in front of the helicopter, this is kind of a little F you to Apple, I guess. Now they're like these benign donut guys. And this is what the game screen looks like. In the middle there, that's the interface. You can see, when the Redskins started doing really bad, I changed my player name to Jim Zorn. And all these other players, whenever I would like drive around and check in, I would get these just horrible messages from people. So kind of funny. Really, not a lot of people in this room watch sports, all right? So here's the other players playing. There's Blumpkin, guy down, Shake, a couple other people. Now, over on the far right, you can see that the game uses the Google Maps API, so you can kind of see who's around you. And it helps you maybe drive towards somebody so that I can go get closer to this person, get on their game tile, and sell them stuff. Now, this is the most high resolution or the most zoomed inness that the game offers. So you can't pinch and expand. So you can see that little blue character there, that's actually me sitting at my house in my neighborhood. The green things are game server bots, and then the little happy face guy is a sugar addict that I would sell to. Now there isn't any other player on my game screen, but you can see up at the top there's a couple like little white characters, and over on the right, those are actually really, those are other real players. Now in order for Google Maps, or in order for the game to render those player locations on my iPhone, I had to request, hey, show me all the players in my area and bring it back to my phone. What are their latitude, longitude, so I can paint it on my Google Maps. Anybody see where I'm going with this? Anybody that does web app testing or anybody familiar with Paris Proxy knows that, well, basically you would fire up Paris Proxy on your laptop and you tell your iPhone to use your laptop as its proxy server so you can intercept all HTTP stuff that goes in and out of your iPhone. And it's really interesting. It's a very chatty device. It phones home a lot to Apple. You'd be amazed at all the stuff that your applications send back to their servers. So you get to see what they send and what they receive. This is what the request looks like when you click on the Google Maps page. So you can see that it's a post to their game server. GameDLA.A steroids has my session ID at the time. It's not persistent, you jokers. And it logs me into the server. And there's a lot of different methods that it will push over XML, update location, buy, sell things, different game operations. The one that we're interested in is get Gmap objects. When it returns the data to you, It's basically serialized XML, and all comes down in one big blob. And you can see, if you squint hard enough, GMAP objects at the very top. And then if you look closely in there,